Develop Your Book idea was put together for those who have attended a writing course like Find Your Voice and would like to go to the next stage. It's also for those who haven't attended any writing courses but have had an idea for a book, maybe for some time, or they've been talking to someone and saying they've got a really good project they think could work. You may even have a few ideas that you've been sitting on for a while. And it may be that you've written a book and you're not sure about the second one, or you've got a bit stuck somewhere along the line of your writing journey. So it is for those who have made steps on their writing journey. It's not a beginner's program, but it also is the case that you don't need to have written and published a novel or even published anything. It is a place for you to come and troubleshoot ideas with other people and to discuss why you think your idea for a book project could work and to find out if it will work. What you'll get out of the course is we hope, is a renewed sense of motivation and commitment to the project, and a really watertight structure, because that is the key when developing a book idea, is to focus your thinking around the structure. With fiction, we look at motivation and conflict of your main character or characters, and we will look at the character arc and really make sure that that is in place and that you have a very clear sense of why this character and this vantage point and this use of ideas in time or ideas that play with time in this way is going to work. With a non-fiction project, we will be looking at the hook. Why is this particular project interesting, and why will readers want to stay with you through the process of reading it? So yeah, it's very much a place where we workshop and troubleshoot ideas and get you to a place where you feel much more confident about the project that you would like to pursue. The importance of having a really strong idea is that you're not going to see it through unless it is strong. And it may be strong because it has a particular pull on you. And if it's very personal, you then have to go through a process of understanding why it might be interesting for the other. So often our writing journeys are quite internal, and by putting them into the workshop with others and submitting them to feedback from others, we can get a more balanced sense of whether it will have appeal on the outside of you and your consciousness, whether that's something that other people are going to be interested in as well. And there are very clear guidelines that we can work with. In fiction projects, we can look very closely at the structure and the character arc to see if the idea is strong enough to see you through the process of writing it and to have some success out there in the world. I think it varies from book to book. I have found that some books come with a lot of work and sweat and effort and a process of carving out time that I felt very disciplined at the time, but when I look back seems a little mad. And then there is a book that came very, very quickly and that had a kind of urgency around it where it just needed to be born and didn't require much editing. It seemed to come from a space and time in my life where it just arrived whole. And I've tried to kind of duplicate that happy accident again, but it has never worked. So I'm learning to trust now that each book has its own journey, and the editing process is part and parcel of the writing process for me, because I tend to feel my way intuitively through it rather than do what a lot of people do, which I think is great, which is write as much as you can, get it all down on the first page. I think this is the will self method. Lots of people follow this. You just get to the end and then you've got something quite solid and tangible to work with. With me, it's slightly more intuitive way of just feeling my way through something, and if it doesn't feel right, I ditch it, and just ditch a lot, write a lot and ditch a lot, and sometimes end up with nothing, and that's sort of okay, because nothing is better than something that's not quite right. I think it's really important to give yourself the time and space to get a first draft out. And I think a level of commitment is required, whether it's getting up an extra hour early in the morning, or finding time at night, or finding time in your lunch hour, whatever it might be. It's about committing to a first draft and saying, I'm going to get this done, come what may. And then allowing yourself to make mistakes, allowing yourself to write a not very good first draft, because really you're just putting the thing down and letting it be whatever it needs to be, and trusting that the editing process will allow you to knock it into shape afterwards. But that creative side has got to be given room to play and to experiment and to explore and to go off in as many different directions as it wants to, however weird or uncomfortable that may feel. And if you suddenly find you want to change the vantage point halfway through, then to trust that and allow yourself to go off in whatever direction you want to go, and be as playful and as light-hearted with the process as you can be, trusting that the more serious, more studious editing side will then pursue you through the second draft. I think anyone who's got an idea for a book, and if it's an idea they've been sitting on for a long time, or an idea that's just come to them, or maybe you're drawn to do the course and you're not really sure if you have an idea and you're not sure if it's strong enough, there's got to be a spark of curiosity, and there's got to be a willingness to commit to the work it takes to develop a book. And so long as you've got that resolution and that desire, I'm confident that we can help you develop a strong idea, and then all it takes is the commitment to the project and the willingness to see it through.